What if everything you believed about getting old was wrong? Martha sat at her kitchen table, the same worn wood her mother had passed down to her decades ago. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the soft ticking of a clock she never bothered to wind anymore. Outside, the early evening light seeped through the curtains, casting long shadows across the linoleum floor, making the house feel even emptier. At 68 years old, Martha felt like a ghost drifting through the rooms of a life once vibrant but now faded. She stared at her phone, scrolling through news stories that all seemed to blur together, headlines about the latest political drama, celebrity gossip, and then, something different, Elon Musk unveiling a new AI supercomputer said to be capable of changing the world. Martha had heard of Elon Musk before, of course, the billionaire known for rockets, electric cars, and bold ideas. But tonight, his words on the news broadcast struck a chord deep inside her. Age isn't a limit. It's an opportunity to reboot, Musk said with a calm confidence that seemed almost otherworldly. Every day, you have the chance to innovate your life, no matter where you start from. The broadcast faded, replaced by commercials and weather updates, but the echo of that one sentence stayed with her. Could it be true? Could she really reboot her life at this stage, after decades of routine, loss, and quiet resignation? She felt a sudden urge to reach out, to connect, to change something. She whispered to herself, what if everything I thought about growing old was wrong? A small, unfamiliar spark flickered in her chest, unsettling and hopeful all at once. As the night deepened, she pulled out her phone again and typed a quick comment on the livestream chat, hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? She pressed send before she could second-guess herself. The room seemed a little less empty now, like a door had creaked open in a house long closed. Martha remembered when her life felt full and brimming with possibility. She had been a schoolteacher for over 30 years in a small Midwest town, beloved by students and colleagues alike. She had a husband once, David, whose laugh filled the rooms like music, and a daughter named Lisa, who had moved across the country after college, distant and hard to reach now. The years had been kind to some but ruthless to others. David's sudden heart attack 5 years ago left her with a hollow ache that no amount of time seemed to heal. Lisa's silence was another wound, a reminder of bridges burned or simply lost. Martha's dreams, once vivid, had dimmed under the weight of responsibilities and grief. She remembered a time when she dreamed of writing a novel, sitting late into the night with a cup of coffee, fingers dancing on the keyboard, weaving stories she believed the world needed to hear. That version of herself felt like a stranger now, tucked away behind decades of should have, could have, and too late. Yet, here she was, staring at a glowing screen, feeling the whisper of possibility return. Is it too late? The question gnawed at her as she switched off the TV and settled into her worn recliner. The house was quiet except for the ticking clock and her restless thoughts. Her daughter's last call was a week ago, curt and distant, telling her to take it easy and not push too hard. Her doctor's warnings echoed in her mind, slow down, Martha. Your heart isn't what it used to be. The community around her moved at a pace that seemed designed to leave people like her behind. The feeling of invisibility was suffocating. Then, a podcast notification appeared. A new episode featuring Elon Musk talking about fearlessness, failure, and the power to defy limitations, no matter your age or past mistakes. Martha pressed play, her ears drinking in the words like water in a desert. Elon spoke of pushing boundaries, of treating life like a series of experiments, some successful, some failures, but always moving forward. The biggest risk is not taking any risk, he said. Especially when you think you're too old or it's too late. The words stirred something fierce and unfamiliar inside her. But just as the light flickered, the shadows returned when her attempt to start a local book club ended in silence and rejection. The same neighbors who once waved hello now barely glanced her way. Was this struggle worth it? Could she really change course now? One evening, after another round of self-doubt, Martha took a deep breath and decided to do something small but daring. She would start a blog. A place to share stories, memories, and thoughts from her generation. Inspired by Elon's relentless drive to build and create, she set up a small workspace in the dusty attic, dust motes dancing in the slanting afternoon sun. Her fingers hovered nervously over the keyboard as she typed her first post. The words felt shaky but real. This is my story, and maybe it's yours too. It's never too late to start again. The first few weeks were slow. A handful of readers trickled in, other seniors who, like Martha, felt left behind and invisible. Then, one day, a message appeared in her inbox. It was from Lisa, her daughter, a simple line, "I read your blog. I'm proud of you." Tears blurred Martha's vision as years of silence and regret melted away in that small, powerful moment. Around the same time, she finished the first chapter of her long-abandoned novel, the words flowing with a mix of triumph and vulnerability. Martha realized she wasn't just telling stories. She was reclaiming her life. "I thought it was the end," she whispered one morning as the sun spilled over the horizon, but it was just a new beginning. Her blog became a beacon for others in her town, encouraging friends and neighbors to find their own sparks. Martha's story, sparked by the unlikely catalyst of Elon Musk's vision and words, was a testament to the truth that age does not define purpose. She was never too old. She was just waiting for permission to matter again. Martha's life before the spark was a slow, quiet unraveling of dreams once vivid but now nearly forgotten. She was born in a small town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knew your name and your history, whether you liked it or not. As a young woman, she was full of ambition, a bright star in her high school class with dreams of becoming a writer and a teacher. She loved books, stories, the way words could transport you to other worlds or heal a broken heart. After college, she returned to her hometown, eager to make a difference. Teaching was her calling. She spent over 30 years in a classroom filled with laughter, curiosity, and the occasional tears of children discovering their own place in the world. She married David in her late 20s, a gentle man with a quick smile and a love for jazz records. They dreamed of a life filled with travel, family, and shared adventures. For a time, it was exactly that. But life, with its twists and turns, brought challenges she hadn't anticipated. After their daughter Lisa was born, Martha put her dreams aside to raise her child and care for her husband. The years passed in a blur of school recitals, family dinners, and quiet evenings. David was her anchor, and Lisa her joy, but as the demands of life mounted, Martha's own aspirations slipped further into the background. She often thought of the novel she'd started in her early 30s, the story of a young woman discovering her strength in the face of loss. But that manuscript gathered dust on the attic shelf, pages yellowing with time. When David suddenly passed away from a heart attack 5 years ago, Martha's world shifted into a place of grief and loneliness. The house felt too big, the silence too loud. Lisa moved to the West Coast, chasing her own dreams and leaving Martha with only the occasional phone call, growing more distant with each passing year. Regret settled like a heavy fog. She wished she had reached out more, fought harder to keep her family close. She wished she had finished the novel, pursued those old dreams with the fierce urgency she now lacked. Each morning, she woke with a sense of loss, a question hanging in the air: was this all there was? A small-town widow with fading memories and a dwindling social circle. The physical aches were another reminder that time was not on her side. Her knees creaked when she stood, and her back twinged if she stayed in one position too long. The mirror reflected a woman she barely recognized, silver hair framing a face marked by years of laughter and sorrow. Martha's days were punctuated by routine: breakfast with lukewarm coffee, a walk around the neighborhood if the weather allowed, afternoons spent flipping through old photo albums. The walls of her home were lined with reminders of the past, pictures of David smiling broadly, Lisa's childhood artwork, awards from her teaching career. But those memories, instead of comforting, often felt like chains keeping her tethered to a life that had slipped away. Her few friends were also aging, some battling health issues, others moving away. The town itself seemed to be changing, with younger families and new developments, but no place felt quite like home anymore. At the local grocery store, she noticed the way younger shoppers hurried past her, their eyes glazed over, too busy to acknowledge an older woman in faded coats. Martha felt invisible, a ghost among the living. One memory haunted her, the last Thanksgiving before David died. The house was full of family and laughter, the smell of roasted turkey and pumpkin pie filling every corner. Lisa was young, full of life, already showing signs of the independence that would eventually pull her away. Martha had been sitting by the window, watching the snow fall softly outside, thinking about the future. She had wanted to say something to David, to Lisa, something important, but the words never came. That moment, frozen in time, symbolized all the missed chances and unspoken feelings that defined much of her recent years. She was trapped in a cycle of longing and regret, unable to move forward or let go. But beneath the weight of these feelings, there was still a flicker of something else, curiosity, maybe hope, buried deep down. This flicker grew stronger the day she heard Elon Musk's words. The idea of rebooting her life was radical, almost unimaginable. But if a man like Elon, who had faced countless failures and rejections, could keep pushing forward, maybe she could too. The question wasn't just about age or health, it was about mindset. Could she shed the narrative of decline and invisibility and step into a new chapter? Martha's relationships reflected this inner turmoil. Her daughter Lisa's calls were sporadic, polite but distant. Lisa had her own busy life, with 2 children and a demanding job in Silicon Valley. They hadn't seen each other in over a year. The distance was both physical and emotional, filled with unspoken resentments and misunderstandings. Martha longed for connection but feared rejection. Her closest friend, Ruth, was a widow too, but with a more cynical view of aging. Ruth often told Martha to accept things as they are, and not to waste energy on dreams that wouldn't come true. Martha found herself torn between Ruth's resignation and the unexpected fire ignited by Elon's message. The doctor's warnings added to the pressure to slow down. "You need to be careful," he said at her last checkup. "Your heart is fragile. Don't overexert yourself." But Martha wondered if slowing down meant giving up. The community's indifference was perhaps the hardest to bear. At church or town meetings, her ideas and concerns were often overlooked. Younger voices dominated, and the seniors were seen as relics of the past rather than contributors to the present. Martha felt like a fading photograph, cherished by few but ignored by many. Yet, amid this landscape of quiet despair, she found small moments of beauty and strength. The morning sun filtering through her kitchen window. The soft rustle of autumn leaves. The kindness of a neighbor who brought fresh baked bread one afternoon. These fragments of life reminded her that even in decline, there was life worth living. Slowly, Martha began to understand that her story was not over, that the chapters yet to be written could hold surprises and joy. The decision to start her blog was born from this realization. It was a small act of rebellion against the narrative that told her to fade away. With each post, she shared memories, lessons, and thoughts about growing older in a world obsessed with youth. She wrote about Elon Musk's AI supercomputer, marveling at how technology promised to reshape the future. She connected with other seniors online who felt the same mix of fear and hope. This digital community became a lifeline, proof that she was not alone. As her blog grew, so did her confidence. She began reaching out to old friends, rekindling relationships she had neglected. She signed up for a beginner's computer class at the community center, eager to learn more about the technology shaping the world. Martha's body still protested some days, but her spirit was renewed. The story she was writing now was not just about her past but about transformation and possibility. In the quiet moments before sleep, she would think of Elon Musk and the fearless way he chased his vision. She realized she could do the same, not by building rockets or AI supercomputers, but by reinventing herself, one small step at a time. This was not the life she had planned, but maybe it was the life she needed. Martha's journey was just beginning, and the pages ahead were blank, waiting for her to fill them with courage, hope, and the kind of love that only comes from embracing every moment, no matter your age. Martha sat quietly in her living room, the soft hum of the TV in the background playing a talk show where Elon Musk was a guest. The words he spoke seemed to ripple through the room, unsettling her calm in a way that felt both uncomfortable and necessary. Is it too late to start over? Does anyone care about someone like me? These questions had become her nightly companions, circling in her mind like vultures. Her daughter Lisa's voice echoed in her memory from their last phone call, distant and clipped. "Mom, you need to slow down. You're pushing yourself too hard." The doctor's warning at her last visit felt like a sentence, "Take it easy. Your heart can't handle the stress." Martha wrestled with the voice inside her that wanted to give up, to accept invisibility as her new normal. Yet Elon Musk's words challenged everything she believed. When people say it's too late, that's exactly when you need to start. His voice was firm, passionate, a call to arms for anyone willing to listen. On the screen, Elon described failure not as an endpoint but as a necessary step toward success. His failures had been public, humiliating even, yet he never let them define him. Martha thought about her own failures, the missed chances with her daughter, the novel that remained unfinished, the friendships that had withered away. Could she change her story? The room seemed smaller now, the walls closing in with doubt, but somewhere in her heart, a tiny flame flickered. The next morning, Martha tried again to connect. She reached out to Lisa with a message, "I'm trying something new. I'd love to share it with you." The reply was slow in coming, but when it arrived, it was a small step forward. "Tell me more." This brief exchange ignited a hope she hadn't felt in years. Yet, not everyone around her shared her newfound resolve. At the grocery store, a neighbor remarked, "You should enjoy your retirement quietly, Martha. No need to rock the boat." Her friend Ruth warned, "Why bother? You're better off taking it easy. That's what age teaches us." Even the local community center seemed dismissive when Martha suggested a workshop on seniors and technology. "We don't have the budget for that," the coordinator said flatly. It was a world that seemed to conspire against her desire to grow, to change, to matter. But Elon's example was a lighthouse in the fog. She found herself listening obsessively to podcasts and interviews, absorbing his mindset of radical innovation and relentless courage. "Fear is the enemy of progress," he had said. Martha began to see her own fear of failure, rejection, and loneliness, as the real barrier. She realized that if Elon could challenge space travel and electric cars, she could challenge the limitations she had accepted for herself. One evening, inspired by a clip of Elon talking about building something from nothing, Martha cleared the attic. Dust floated in the sunbeams as she unpacked an old laptop and set up a workspace. The keyboard felt foreign beneath her fingers, but her determination was fierce. She started a blog, Second Chances with Martha, a place to share stories, lessons, and struggles from the perspective of someone rediscovering purpose in later life. The first post was raw and honest, "I'm 68 years old, and I'm starting over. Maybe this is too late, but I refuse to believe that." It was a small act, but for Martha, it felt revolutionary. At first, the blog was like shouting into the void. A handful of readers trickled in, mostly other seniors seeking connection and understanding. Comments came slowly but carried weight. One reader wrote, "Your story gives me hope. I thought I was alone in feeling invisible." Another shared, "You remind me to keep fighting, no matter my age." These messages buoyed Martha, showing her that her experience was not isolated but shared by many. Encouraged, she posted more frequently, sharing memories, reflections, and even excerpts from the unfinished novel she'd dusted off. She wrote about Elon Musk's AI supercomputer, the promise of a technology that could reshape the world, and maybe, in its own way, reshape her too. As the blog grew, Martha noticed a shift in herself. She felt lighter, more connected, more alive. She began walking every day, despite the aches in her knees, determined to build strength and stamina. She took a beginner's computer class at the community center, learning the basics of blogging and social media. The journey was difficult, her body resisted, her confidence wavered, and the temptation to quit was constant. But with each small victory, Martha's belief in herself deepened. One day, a comment appeared on her blog from an unexpected source, Lisa. "Mom, I've been reading your posts. I'm proud of you." The message was simple but seismic. Years of distance and silence seemed to crumble in that moment. They arranged a video call, awkward at first but gradually warm, filled with tentative laughter and tears. It was the beginning of a fragile but hopeful reconciliation. Martha's story caught the attention of a local reporter who featured her in a piece about seniors embracing technology and reinvention. The article brought new readers to her blog and invitations to speak at community events. Martha stood before small groups, sharing her journey and encouraging others to embrace their own second acts. The once quiet woman was becoming a voice of inspiration. Yet challenges remained. At a town meeting, a younger council member dismissed her ideas as nostalgic and impractical. The sting of rejection was sharp, but Martha remembered Elon's resilience. Failure was not defeat but feedback. She pressed on, organizing a tech workshop for seniors that slowly gained traction. As winter melted into spring, Martha finished the first chapter of her novel, a story about a woman who, despite loss and doubt, finds strength to rebuild. Writing it was cathartic, a way to reclaim parts of herself long buried. The words poured out with a mixture of vulnerability and power. One morning, she sat by her kitchen window, sunlight warming her face, and whispered to herself, "I was never too old. I was just waiting for permission to matter again." The journey was far from over, but Martha's transformation was undeniable. She was no longer defined by loss or fear but by courage and hope. Inspired by Elon Musk's example, she was rewriting her story, one brave choice at a time. The town that once overlooked her began to see her in a new light. Friends reconnected, neighbors listened, and a small community of seniors emerged, eager to explore new possibilities together. Martha's blog became a hub for these connections, a testament to the power of persistence and reinvention. The AI supercomputer Elon unveiled was no longer just a distant marvel, it was a symbol of what was possible when we refused to accept limits. Martha understood now that the real revolution was within, the decision to keep moving, keep creating, keep believing. And so, in a quiet house filled with memories and new dreams, Martha found her way back to life, not as an echo of the past, but as a beacon for the future. Martha awoke with a strange energy coursing through her veins, a quiet but persistent urge that pushed her beyond the familiar confines of her daily routine. The morning sun filtered through the thin curtains, casting a golden glow across the cluttered kitchen table where the laptop she had been working on sat waiting. After months of hesitation and small steps, today felt different, like the moment when the tide finally turns. Inspired by Elon Musk's relentless drive and the promise embedded in his new AI supercomputer, she decided it was time to make a change that went beyond blogging and quiet hope. It wasn't about rewriting the past or chasing youth, it was about embracing her power to build something new, something meaningful that connected her to the world again. With trembling hands, she opened the attic door, the space that had become her sanctuary, filled with forgotten boxes of old books, photographs, and the ghost of a long-abandoned novel. The dust danced in the beams of light, and the silence seemed charged with possibility. Martha cleared a corner, moving aside stacks of faded papers and brittle photo albums. She set up her laptop on an old wooden desk, pulled out a notebook, and started sketching ideas, an online community, a series of workshops, maybe even a collaborative project with other seniors eager to rediscover their purpose. The plan felt ambitious, almost audacious, but Elon Musk's words echoed in her mind, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." She thought about the AI supercomputer Musk was building. A machine designed to push the boundaries of what humanity could achieve, capable of learning, adapting, and growing beyond anything before it. Martha wondered if her own journey was a mirror of that technological leap, a human version of rebooting, reprogramming, and evolving. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. She reached out to local community centers, libraries, and senior groups, pitching her idea for a tech and creativity workshop that would teach older adults how to use technology as a tool for expression and connection. Responses were mixed, some enthusiastic, others skeptical, but Martha pressed on, channeling Elon's fearlessness. Failure is just a lesson, she reminded herself every time a door closed. She enlisted Ruth's reluctant help, inviting her to co-host the sessions. To Martha's surprise, Ruth agreed, admitting quietly that she missed having a purpose beyond routine. Together, they created flyers, posted on social media, and held informational meetings. Slowly, a group began to form, a mix of retirees, widows, and seniors from various backgrounds, all carrying their own stories of loss, hope, and the yearning for something more. The first workshop was held in the dusty basement of the community center, a room filled with mismatched chairs and the faint smell of old paint. Martha's hands shook as she stood before the group, the weight of years pressing on her, but the spark in her heart kept her steady. She shared her story, of loss, regret, and the moment she heard Elon Musk say, "Age is not a cage but a canvas." The room listened, faces reflecting the same mixture of fear and longing she knew so well. They learned how to set up blogs, use social media, and explore digital art tools. For many, it was intimidating at first, but Martha and Ruth guided them patiently, celebrating every small victory, sending a first email, posting a first photo, sharing a first story. As weeks turned into months, the group grew not only in numbers but in confidence and camaraderie. The workshops became a safe space where creativity bloomed and new friendships took root. Martha noticed the subtle changes in herself and others, the way shoulders straightened, smiles grew wider, and laughter filled rooms that once echoed with silence. At home, Martha's blog flourished alongside the workshops. She began featuring guest posts from workshop participants, showcasing their stories and creations. The online community blossomed, connecting seniors from distant towns and even other states, all united by the desire to defy the limitations of age. Lisa, now more engaged, often read the posts and sent encouraging messages. Their conversations grew more frequent and heartfelt, bridging the years of distance and misunderstanding. One evening, Martha received an invitation to speak at a regional conference on aging and technology. It was an opportunity she never imagined, a platform to share her journey and advocate for the empowerment of older adults through innovation. Preparing her speech, Martha reflected on how far she had come. The woman who once sat alone in a silent kitchen was now a leader, a catalyst for change. Her story intertwined with Elon Musk's vision, not because she was building rockets or AI, but because she had embraced the same spirit of relentless curiosity and courage. The conference day arrived, and Martha stepped onto the stage, heart pounding but voice steady. She spoke of fear and hope, of loss and renewal, weaving in the lessons she learned from Elon Musk's example. She told the audience that aging was not an end but a beginning, a chance to reinvent oneself with wisdom and passion. The applause was warm and genuine, a powerful affirmation of her message. Returning home, Martha felt a deep sense of peace. She realized that the true supercomputer was not the machine Elon Musk was building but the human spirit, capable of learning, adapting, and transforming at any age. Her journey was far from over, but she now carried the conviction that no one was ever too old to change the world, starting with their own. In the quiet moments before sleep, Martha smiled, knowing that the spark Elon Musk ignited in her heart had grown into a steady flame, one that would light the way for many others still searching for their own new beginning. Martha stood at the edge of the town park one crisp autumn morning, watching the early sunlight paint golden hues on the fallen leaves. She felt the cool air on her skin and the steady ache in her knees, a reminder of her age and all that had come before. But today was different. There was a quiet excitement beneath the surface, a sense that something was unfolding beyond the routine that had once defined her days. Since launching the workshops and her blog, her life had shifted in ways she never imagined. The invitations, the new friendships, the steady rekindling with Lisa. All of it had begun to break through the isolation that had clung to her like a shadow. Yet, beneath the surface of these successes, Martha was still wrestling with doubts. Could this change last? Was she strong enough to face the inevitable challenges ahead? These questions lingered even as she laced up her walking shoes, determined to take the first real step in a new chapter. Elon Musk's voice echoed in her mind, "If something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are against you." The odds were certainly stacked against a woman her age, facing physical limitations, skepticism, and the weight of years spent feeling invisible. But Martha was ready to push forward. She started walking every morning, a simple act that became a powerful symbol of her commitment to change. The first few days were difficult, her muscles protested, her breath came short, and the neighborhood felt unfamiliar through new eyes. But each step was a victory, a quiet rebellion against the narrative that told her to slow down and fade away. On her walks, she began noticing things she hadn't seen in years: the laughter of children at the nearby playground, the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, the intricate patterns of frost on the windows of neighbors' homes. The world was alive, and she was part of it again. Encouraged by this progress, Martha challenged herself further. She signed up for a local volunteer program to teach reading skills to adult learners. The work was demanding but deeply fulfilling, reminding her of her years as a teacher and reigniting her passion for helping others. Her students, many struggling with their own hardships, looked to Martha as a source of patience and encouragement. Meanwhile, her blog evolved into a multimedia platform. With newfound confidence, Martha began experimenting with videos and podcasts, interviewing other seniors who had embraced change and sharing their stories. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from people across the country, thanking her for creating a space where their voices mattered. Lisa, now more connected than ever, offered to help with technical aspects, bridging the gap between generations and healing old wounds. Their relationship, once fragile and distant, blossomed into a genuine friendship filled with laughter and mutual respect. But the path was not without setbacks. One evening, Martha received a call from the community center. Due to budget cuts, her workshop series would be suspended indefinitely. The news hit hard. The workshops had become a lifeline, not just for participants but for Martha herself. She felt the familiar sting of disappointment and the temptation to retreat into old patterns of resignation. Yet, instead of giving up, Martha remembered Elon Musk's relentless spirit. Failure was simply feedback, a challenge to innovate and adapt. Refusing to let the program die, she rallied the group, proposing they continue meeting informally at a local coffee shop. The response was enthusiastic. The group transformed into a grassroots community, self-sustained and vibrant, where members shared skills, supported each other, and celebrated every achievement. This resilience fueled Martha's resolve. She reached out to local businesses and nonprofits, seeking partnerships and funding to revive the workshops. Slowly but surely, doors began to open. A tech company donated laptops, a local library offered space for meetings, and a small grant from a philanthropic foundation provided resources to expand the program. Martha's efforts not only saved the workshops but elevated them to a new level, attracting media attention and inspiring similar initiatives in neighboring towns. Through it all, Martha's health remained a constant concern. The physical demands of her new lifestyle tested her limits. Some days were painful, and the fear of overexertion loomed large. But with careful attention to her body and encouragement from her doctor, she learned to balance ambition with self-care. Her morning walks became a meditation, a time to connect with her body and mind. Her transformation was not just external but deeply internal. Martha felt a growing sense of peace and purpose that transcended her age or physical condition. She was no longer defined by what she had lost but by what she was creating, a legacy of courage, connection, and reinvention. One afternoon, as she prepared for a podcast interview, Martha reflected on the woman she had been just a year before. The contrast was staggering. Then, she had felt invisible, defeated by time and circumstance. Now, she was a beacon for others, proof that change was possible at any stage of life. Elon Musk's AI supercomputer, once a distant marvel on the news, had become a metaphor for Martha's own journey, a symbol of limitless potential and the power of embracing the unknown. In her heart, Martha knew the journey was far from over. Challenges would come, doubts would return, but she had learned to face them with resilience and hope. She was not alone, she was part of a community, connected across generations by stories of courage and transformation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the town, Martha sat on her porch, a cup of tea warming her hands. She smiled, feeling the steady flame of purpose burning bright within her. The moment she once feared, the moment when it all changed, had arrived. And with it, the promise of new beginnings, endless possibilities, and a life truly lived. Martha sat in her cozy living room, the soft glow of the evening lamp casting long shadows on the walls lined with photographs and mementos of a life richly lived but tinged with quiet regret. Tonight was different. After months of steady progress, her blog gaining followers, workshops blossoming into a vibrant community, and her reconciled relationship with Lisa, Martha felt the stirring of a deeper transformation, one that reached beyond the surface. She opened her laptop and clicked on a video clip she had watched countless times before, Elon Musk unveiling his new AI supercomputer. The image of Elon, fearless and relentless, speaking passionately about pushing boundaries, ignited something inside her. This wasn't just about technology, it was about mindset, about daring to defy expectations, about breaking through invisible barriers that society, and sometimes she herself, had placed around what aging should mean. She thought back to the dark days when fear and doubt ruled her thoughts, the doctor's warnings, Lisa's hesitant distance, the community's skepticism. Those moments had felt like walls closing in. But Elon's words cut through the noise: when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Inspired, Martha decided to confront a lingering challenge she had avoided for decades, the unfinished novel hidden in the attic, a symbol of dreams deferred and a past she had nearly surrendered. She climbed the creaky attic stairs, the air thick with dust and memories, and retrieved the worn manuscript. Sitting by the window, she leafed through the yellowed pages, each word a ghost from a younger self. Writing had once been her passion, a way to make sense of the world and her place in it. Now, it felt like reclaiming a lost part of her soul. Over the next weeks, Martha dedicated herself to the novel, weaving her life's lessons into the narrative, channeling the courage she saw in Elon into every sentence. The process was both exhilarating and painful, forcing her to confront regrets, joys, and the raw reality of aging. As the pages multiplied, so did her confidence. The blog readers responded eagerly to excerpts she shared, praising the honesty and depth of her writing. Encouraged, Martha submitted a chapter to a local literary contest, a bold step that sparked both excitement and anxiety. When the results arrived, Martha was stunned. The judges had awarded her a special mention for her storytelling and emotional resonance. The recognition was a watershed moment, a powerful affirmation that her voice still mattered, that her story could inspire others. Buoyed by this success, Martha reached out to a local bookstore about hosting a reading event. The invitation was accepted, and soon she found herself standing before an audience of curious listeners, sharing chapters of her novel and the journey behind it. The room was filled with warmth and connection, strangers moved by the authenticity of her words. Lisa attended, eyes shining with pride, and afterward they embraced, two souls healing, bridging the chasms of time and misunderstanding. Martha's writing became a beacon not only for herself but for others grappling with the complexities of aging and reinvention. She began collaborating with other seniors on creative projects, forming a collective that celebrated late-life artistry and storytelling. Through this community, she discovered a wellspring of talent, resilience, and hope, each story a testament to the human spirit's capacity to grow and evolve. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's AI supercomputer continued to make headlines, symbolizing the cutting edge of human innovation. Martha often reflected on how this technological marvel paralleled her own transformation, a fusion of intelligence, persistence, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. The supercomputer wasn't just a machine, it was a metaphor for what was possible when fear gave way to curiosity and action. Despite these triumphs, Martha faced moments of doubt and vulnerability. Physical aches reminded her of her limits, and the societal voices that dismissed older adults as obsolete still lingered in the background. But now, she met these challenges with a steadiness forged through experience and hope. She cultivated mindfulness and gratitude, grounding herself in the present while daring to envision a future still rich with purpose. One chilly evening, as snow began to fall softly outside, Martha sat by the fire with Lisa and Ruth, sharing stories and laughter. The warmth in the room contrasted with the winter's chill, a reminder that connection and love could defy even the coldest seasons. Martha realized that her journey, once a solitary struggle, had blossomed into a shared legacy, a testament to the power of perseverance and the courage to change. The next morning, she woke early, heart full of quiet determination. There were new projects to pursue, new voices to uplift, and a life still unfolding with promise. She whispered to herself, "I was never too old. I was just waiting for permission to matter again." And with that, Martha stepped into the day, ready to continue her remarkable journey of transformation and hope. Martha woke to the soft hum of her phone buzzing beside the bed. The early morning light seeped through the curtains, casting a gentle glow across her room, but it was the unexpected message that stirred her heart most. It was from Lisa. "Mom, I've been thinking a lot about what you're doing. I want to be part of it." The words felt like a bridge spanning years of distance, regret, and silence. Martha's eyes welled with tears, not just from the message but from the flood of hope it carried. She had longed for this moment, an opening, a chance to heal fractured bonds and rebuild what time had worn thin. Inspired by Elon Musk's relentless drive to break barriers, she knew now was the time to embrace vulnerability and connection as boldly as she had embraced change. Over the following days, Martha and Lisa began to rebuild their relationship with cautious optimism and openness. They spent long afternoons sharing stories, frustrations, and dreams, discovering common ground where years of silence had once prevailed. Lisa brought her own talents, digital marketing and social media savvy, to help expand Martha's workshops and blog reach, bridging the generational gap with ease and enthusiasm. Their partnership became a symbol of renewal, proof that even the most fractured relationships could find new life when nurtured with patience and love. Meanwhile, Martha's community of seniors continued to thrive. The grassroots workshops grew into a network of support, creativity, and empowerment. Inspired by Elon Musk's vision of pushing boundaries, Martha introduced new elements to the program: coding classes, AI literacy sessions, and collaborative projects exploring how technology could enhance everyday life for older adults. The enthusiasm was palpable. One afternoon, during a coding workshop, George, a retired mechanic, created a simple app to help his neighbors with medication reminders. The pride on his face mirrored Martha's own feelings, a testament to the transformative power of learning and agency. Yet, challenges persisted. Martha faced occasional resistance from local officials skeptical about investing resources in programs for seniors. Funding was uncertain, and the pressure to prove the initiative's worth weighed heavily on her. In moments of doubt, she returned to Elon Musk's words: "Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up." Those words became her mantra, fueling late-night grant applications and heartfelt appeals to community leaders. One pivotal meeting with the town council changed everything. Martha, flanked by workshop participants and Lisa, presented not only statistics but stories, personal testimonies of growth, connection, and renewed purpose. The room was moved, the skepticism softened, and a modest grant was approved to expand the program. The victory was hard-won but deeply gratifying, a reminder that meaningful change often begins with courageous storytelling and authentic connection. At home, Martha continued her personal journey of transformation. She integrated daily walks with mindful meditation, nourishing both body and spirit. Inspired by Elon's embrace of calculated risk-taking, she ventured into public speaking beyond the local conference, sharing her story at regional and national events focused on aging, technology, and empowerment. Her voice resonated with audiences hungry for hope and practical inspiration. Each speech was a step further into her new identity, not just as a survivor of aging's challenges but as a pioneer of possibility. Martha's novel advanced steadily, a living chronicle of her evolving perspective on life, loss, and renewal. Feedback from readers and fellow writers deepened her insight and sharpened her craft. She felt the stirring of a dream once distant, publication and wider recognition, not for fame but for the chance to touch more lives with her story. One evening, Martha received an email that set her heart racing. A small independent publisher was interested in her manuscript and wanted to discuss potential publication. The news rekindled the fire of youthful ambition mingled with seasoned wisdom. As she prepared for the upcoming meeting, Martha reflected on the extraordinary journey that had brought her here, from the depths of despair to a life brimming with purpose and connection. She thought of Elon Musk's bold vision and how his spirit of innovation had inspired her to reimagine what was possible for herself and others like her. The path ahead was uncertain, but Martha embraced it with open arms. Surrounded by friends, family, and a growing community, she understood that her legacy was not just in words or programs but in the courage to change, to reach out, and to keep moving forward. As the sun set over the town, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Martha sat quietly on her porch, savoring the moment. The road had been long and winding, but every step had been worth it. In her heart, she knew this was just the beginning of an extraordinary new chapter. The future, like Elon's AI supercomputer, was a vast, uncharted frontier waiting to be explored, by anyone brave enough to take the first step. Martha awoke to the gentle patter of rain against her window, the soft gray light seeping into her room like a quiet invitation. Today was the day she had been both anticipating and dreading, the first official meeting with the independent publisher interested in her manuscript. For weeks, the possibility of publication had danced tantalizingly close, yet the weight of self-doubt and fear threatened to cloud her excitement. Was her story truly worthy? Would readers connect with the voice of an aging woman daring to rewrite her narrative? She reminded herself of Elon Musk's fearless declaration, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough." The words sparked a flicker of courage deep within. This meeting wasn't just about a book, it was about claiming her place in a world that often overlooked those her age. Dressed in a simple blouse and cardigan, Martha gathered her notes and headed into town, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and resolve. The small publisher's office was nestled in a historic building, its walls lined with bookshelves filled with stories waiting to be discovered. Martha was greeted warmly by Claire, the editor who had reached out after reading an excerpt on Martha's blog. Claire's enthusiasm was infectious as she discussed the manuscript's raw honesty and emotional depth. They spoke for hours about the themes of aging, reinvention, and resilience, weaving in Martha's personal journey and the broader social issues the book addressed. Claire suggested a few revisions to sharpen the narrative arc but was clear that Martha's authentic voice was its greatest strength. Leaving the meeting, Martha felt a surge of hope mingled with determination. The path ahead would require hard work and vulnerability, but for the first time in years, she saw a horizon filled with possibility rather than limits. Back home, the workshops continued to flourish. The grassroots community, now firmly established, had become a beacon for seniors eager to explore technology and creativity. New participants joined weekly, their lives enriched by connection and purpose. Martha and Lisa worked closely to expand the online presence, producing video tutorials, live sessions, and a monthly newsletter highlighting member stories and achievements. One afternoon, during a live session, a participant named Harold shared how the workshops had helped him overcome isolation after his wife's passing. His words resonated deeply, a reminder of the profound impact their collective efforts were making. Martha also embraced new challenges personally. She began exploring digital art, inspired by a younger workshop member's vibrant creations. The process was unfamiliar and sometimes frustrating, but with patience, she discovered a new form of expression that brought joy and a sense of accomplishment. Meanwhile, her relationship with Lisa blossomed further. They spent weekends collaborating on blog content, sharing family meals, and rediscovering the simple pleasures of companionship. Lisa confided in Martha about her own struggles balancing career and motherhood, and together they found strength in their shared resilience. The months passed with a rhythm both comforting and exhilarating. Yet, not all days were easy. Martha faced moments of exhaustion and physical pain, reminders of the limits her aging body imposed. There were nights when doubt crept in, whispering that she was chasing dreams too big, that her time had passed. But each morning, she found solace in the sunrise, in the unwavering support of her community, and in the quiet wisdom that came from embracing imperfection. One chilly evening, Martha received an unexpected invitation to speak at a national conference on aging and innovation. The honor was staggering, a testament to how far her journey had come. Preparing her speech, she reflected on the unlikely twists that had brought her here, from a lonely widow afraid of change to a vibrant advocate inspiring others to embrace new beginnings. On the day of the conference, standing before a packed auditorium, Martha felt the familiar flutter of nerves dissolve into a steady calm. She shared her story with honesty and passion, weaving in the lessons learned from Elon Musk's example of fearless innovation. Her words struck a chord, sparking a standing ovation and conversations that extended long after the event ended. Returning home, Martha was filled with renewed purpose. The future was wide open, a canvas waiting for her next bold strokes. She knew challenges would come, but armed with resilience, connection, and the courage to keep evolving, she was ready to face them head-on. As snow began to blanket the town in quiet white, Martha sat by her window, a steaming cup of tea warming her hands. She smiled softly, grateful for the journey and the spark that had ignited it all, a spark from a visionary who reminded her that the power to change lies within us, no matter our age. Martha sat quietly in the corner of the bustling community center, watching as her workshop buzzed with energy. The room was alive with conversations, laughter, and the steady tapping of keyboards, a symphony of reinvention and connection that filled her heart with pride. Over the past year, what began as a small gathering of hesitant seniors had grown into a vibrant network of learners, creators, and friends. Each face told a story of transformation, of courage found in the face of doubt. Yet beneath the surface of this success, Martha grappled with a new challenge, the fear of complacency, of settling into comfort and losing the drive that had propelled her forward. Elon Musk's relentless push for innovation echoed in her mind, a reminder that growth demands constant courage to confront the unknown. She resolved to take her vision to the next level. Inspired by the cutting-edge AI supercomputer that had sparked her journey, Martha dreamed of integrating technology to deepen the workshop's impact. She envisioned personalized learning programs powered by AI to adapt to each participant's pace and interests, breaking down barriers and opening new worlds of possibility. The idea was ambitious, even daunting. But Martha knew that meaningful change required bold steps. She began reaching out to local tech experts, universities, and startups, seeking partners willing to collaborate on this visionary project. The response was encouraging. A nearby university's computer science department expressed interest in developing a pilot program, and a young AI specialist named Jordan offered to volunteer his expertise. Together, they embarked on the challenge of designing an accessible, user-friendly platform tailored to seniors' needs. The process was complex and filled with setbacks. Technical glitches, funding hurdles, and the challenge of making advanced technology feel welcoming rather than intimidating tested their resolve. But each obstacle was met with creative problem-solving and unwavering commitment. Martha's leadership and the community's enthusiasm fueled the team's persistence. Meanwhile, Martha continued to nurture the personal connections that had become the foundation of her work. She spent time with participants individually, listening to their stories, fears, and dreams. One woman, Evelyn, shared how the workshops had helped her regain confidence after years of isolation following her husband's death. Another participant, Harold, now tech-savvy and self-assured, had begun volunteering to assist newcomers, embodying the cycle of empowerment Martha hoped to cultivate. At home, Martha's relationship with Lisa flourished amid the shared passion for this new project. Late evenings were often spent brainstorming ideas, planning outreach strategies, and celebrating small victories. The generational gap that had once separated them seemed to dissolve in the face of a common purpose. Yet, Martha remained mindful of the balance she needed to maintain. Aging brought its own set of challenges, fatigue, aches, and moments when her body reminded her of its limits. She incorporated gentle yoga and meditation into her routine, practices that soothed both mind and body, helping her sustain the demanding pace of her evolving life. As the AI pilot program took shape, excitement rippled through the community. The prospect of harnessing technology to unlock new potentials ignited imaginations and renewed enthusiasm. Martha marveled at how far they had come, from tentative first steps to pioneering a future where age was no barrier to growth. One crisp morning, the team launched the pilot. Participants gathered in the computer lab, nerves mingling with anticipation. The AI platform greeted each user with a personalized interface, offering tailored lessons, encouragement, and interactive challenges. The room filled with gasps of delight and eager questions as the technology responded to their needs in real time. Watching the joy and empowerment on their faces, Martha felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This was more than innovation, it was a testament to the human spirit's capacity to adapt, learn, and thrive. News of the pilot program spread beyond the town, attracting attention from media and policymakers. Martha was invited to speak at conferences and participate in panels discussing aging, technology, and social change. Her story became a beacon, inspiring other communities to explore similar initiatives. Despite the acclaim, Martha remained grounded. She understood that true progress was measured not in headlines but in the everyday lives transformed by opportunity and connection. She continued to listen, learn, and lead with humility and heart. One evening, as winter deepened and the first snowflakes drifted outside, Martha sat by the fireplace, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. The path had been winding, marked by loss, doubt, and rediscovery. Yet through it all, the spark ignited by a visionary's boldness had never dimmed. She whispered to herself, age is not an obstacle but a foundation, a well of wisdom, courage, and possibility waiting to be tapped. The future beckoned, vast and uncharted, but Martha was ready. With the strength of her community, the promise of innovation, and the lessons of resilience etched deep within her, she stepped forward into the next chapter of her extraordinary life. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Martha's phone buzzed softly on the kitchen counter, the screen lighting up with a notification she hadn't expected but deeply needed, a message from her younger sister, June. I saw your talk online. Proud of you, sis. Let's catch up soon. The simple words hit Martha like a gentle wave, washing away years of silence and regret between them. Their relationship had fractured long ago, a casualty of misunderstandings and distance. But now, fueled by the momentum of her own transformation and the inspiration she found in Elon Musk's unwavering belief in second chances, Martha felt ready to rebuild that bridge. The afternoon sun filtered through the lace curtains as Martha dialed June's number, her fingers trembling with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. When June answered, her voice was warm, tinged with surprise but unmistakably eager. Martha, it's been too long. The two sisters talked for hours, weaving through memories, apologies, and hopes for the future. They shared laughter and tears, rediscovering a bond that neither had realized was still alive beneath the layers of time and distance. This reunion became a catalyst for Martha, reminding her that transformation was as much about healing relationships as it was about personal growth or technological breakthroughs. Meanwhile, the AI pilot program blossomed into a vital part of the community's fabric. Participants not only learned new skills but began applying them in meaningful ways. Harold's medication reminder app evolved into a broader health management tool, Evelyn started an online support group for widows, and several others explored creative projects ranging from digital photography to virtual storytelling. The workshops became a place of empowerment and belonging, where age was celebrated as a source of strength rather than limitation. Martha and Lisa worked tirelessly to secure additional funding, navigating grants and sponsorships with determination. Their efforts paid off when a major foundation awarded a generous grant, enabling the expansion of the program to neighboring towns and the development of a mobile app to reach seniors unable to attend in person. This milestone was celebrated with a community event filled with music, speeches, and heartfelt gratitude. The sense of collective achievement was palpable, a testament to what could be accomplished when vision met persistence. At home, Martha found solace in her creative pursuits. Her novel advanced steadily, enriched by the deeper understanding of relationships and resilience she was cultivating. She began attending writers' groups, sharing her work and drawing strength from fellow artists who embraced her voice and story. Publication was no longer just a distant dream but a tangible goal, a symbol of her journey's broader impact. Yet, life continued to challenge Martha in unexpected ways. A routine health checkup revealed early signs of a chronic condition requiring careful management. The news was sobering, a reminder of the physical realities of aging. But Martha approached this challenge with the same mindset that had guided her reinvention: knowledge, proactive care, and the support of her community. She adjusted her routines, incorporated gentle exercises, and leaned on Lisa and friends for encouragement. The experience deepened her empathy and fueled her advocacy for accessible healthcare resources for seniors. Inspired by Elon Musk's emphasis on interdisciplinary collaboration, Martha began forging partnerships beyond the tech and senior communities. She connected with local artists, healthcare providers, educators, and policymakers to create holistic programs addressing the multifaceted needs of aging populations. These efforts culminated in the launch of the Living Forward initiative, a comprehensive platform combining technology, creativity, health, and social connection to empower seniors to thrive. The initiative attracted media attention and sparked conversations nationwide about redefining aging in the 21st century. Throughout this whirlwind of activity, Martha remained grounded in the simple joys of everyday life. She cherished morning walks with Lisa, quiet evenings by the fire, and the laughter of new friends who had become like family. The scars of past losses lingered, but they no longer defined her. Instead, they were woven into a tapestry of resilience, hope, and purpose. One evening, as snow blanketed the town in serene white, Martha sat at her desk, pen in hand, reflecting on the path that had brought her here. She thought of the lonely widow she once was, consumed by doubt and fear, and the woman she had become, bold, connected, and alive with possibility. The journey was far from over, but she embraced it with open arms. She whispered a promise to herself: to keep dreaming, to keep pushing, to keep believing that age was not an end but a new beginning. The future stretched before her like an uncharted map, inviting exploration. And with the spirit of Elon Musk guiding her, the fearless innovator who dared to imagine and build a better world, Martha was ready to continue forging her extraordinary legacy. Martha woke to the familiar creak of the old wooden floor beneath her feet as she made her way to the kitchen. The morning sun spilled through the window, casting golden patterns on the walls, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. A small comfort amidst the whirlwind of change in her life. Today marked the beginning of something new, a live virtual seminar she was hosting, titled "Embracing the Future, Aging with Purpose and Technology." The invitation had gone out to hundreds across the country, many seniors eager to explore how innovation could enrich their lives. Martha felt a flutter of excitement mixed with nervousness, much like the first day of a new adventure. She reminded herself of Elon Musk's words: "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." This seminar was important, to her and to countless others seeking connection and empowerment in an uncertain world. As the clock struck 10, Martha logged into the platform, her screen filling with smiling faces and eager eyes. The energy was palpable, a tapestry of stories, hopes, and questions waiting to unfold. She began by sharing her own journey, how loss and loneliness had once defined her days, and how a spark of inspiration from a visionary had led her to reclaim purpose and embrace change. The participants responded with heartfelt messages and shared experiences, creating a space of empathy and encouragement. The seminar covered practical topics: how to navigate digital tools, use AI assistants to simplify daily tasks, and maintain social connections through technology. Martha invited guest speakers, including Jordan, the young AI specialist who had helped develop the community's personalized learning platform. Together, they demonstrated how accessible and life-enhancing these innovations could be. Questions flowed freely: concerns about privacy, the fear of being overwhelmed by new technology, and the desire to stay relevant in a rapidly changing world. Martha addressed each with patience and honesty, acknowledging the challenges while highlighting the possibilities. She emphasized that age was not a barrier but a bridge to new adventures. One participant, Clara, shared how the workshops had rekindled her love for photography, encouraging her to start a blog showcasing her work. Another, Harold, spoke about using technology to connect with his grandchildren across the country, closing distances that once felt insurmountable. The stories wove together a narrative of resilience, adaptation, and joy. After the seminar, Martha spent hours responding to messages, connecting participants with local resources, and brainstorming ways to expand the program's reach. She felt invigorated by the collective spirit and the knowledge that her work was making a tangible difference. Yet, amid the excitement, Martha remained mindful of her own well-being. She scheduled quiet moments for reflection, exercise, and rest, understanding that sustaining this pace required balance. Her health challenges persisted, but with proactive care and support, she managed them with grace. The success of the virtual seminar attracted attention from national media outlets interested in stories about aging and technology. Martha was invited to participate in podcasts and interviews, her voice becoming a beacon for seniors everywhere seeking hope and practical guidance. Each opportunity was a chance to amplify her message, that it is never too late to learn, grow, and contribute. In her personal life, Martha's relationship with Lisa deepened into a partnership marked by mutual respect and shared dreams. Together, they planned to develop an online platform combining Martha's workshops, personal storytelling, and resources for seniors navigating the digital age. The project embodied their collective vision of empowerment and connection. One afternoon, while reviewing feedback from seminar participants, Martha received an unexpected email from a renowned author interested in mentoring her through the publication process. The offer was a gift, a validation of her journey and a chance to elevate her story to wider audiences. Grateful and inspired, Martha embraced this new chapter with open arms. As winter melted into spring, Martha's days were filled with creativity, collaboration, and community. She watched as seniors in her program blossomed into confident learners and leaders, their stories inspiring others to embark on their own journeys of transformation. Reflecting on the path she had traveled, Martha marveled at how a single spark. Elon Musk's fearless innovation and willingness to defy limitations had ignited a flame that illuminated her life and the lives of so many others. The future remained uncertain, but Martha faced it with a heart full of hope and a spirit ready to explore the vast possibilities ahead. Sitting on her porch one warm evening, the breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers, she whispered a promise to keep dreaming, keep learning, and keep believing that age was not a destination but a beginning. Martha stared at the blinking cursor on her laptop screen, the blank page reflecting the swirl of thoughts inside her mind. The manuscript that had once seemed so clear now felt like a daunting mountain to climb. She knew her story held power, the raw truth of aging, loss, and rediscovery, but expressing it in a way that would truly resonate was a challenge. Elon Musk's relentless pursuit of innovation echoed in her mind. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. With renewed determination, she began typing, each word a small act of courage. The story flowed, capturing moments of despair and hope, the aching loneliness of isolation and the exhilarating spark of connection. She wrote about the workshops, the AI pilot program, and the bonds forged in the crucible of reinvention. As the weeks passed, Martha found herself immersed in the writing process, uncovering layers of emotion and insight she hadn't anticipated. The manuscript became a mirror reflecting not only her journey but the collective experience of many who felt invisible in a world that prized youth and speed. One afternoon, while attending a local book club to share excerpts, Martha encountered unexpected resistance. Some members questioned the relevance of her themes, suggesting that older adults should simply accept the limitations of aging. The comments stung, a reminder of the societal biases that often silenced voices like hers. Yet Martha responded with grace and conviction, sharing stories of resilience and transformation that challenged narrow perceptions. Her words sparked thoughtful dialogue, planting seeds of empathy and change. Encouraged, Martha expanded her outreach, organizing speaking engagements at senior centers, libraries, and community events. Each opportunity was a chance to break down stereotypes and ignite hope. She connected with advocacy groups and policymakers, using her platform to push for greater support and inclusion for aging populations. At home, the balance between writing, community work, and personal health remained delicate. Some days fatigue won, forcing Martha to rest and regroup. Others brought bursts of creativity and energy that propelled her forward. Lisa's unwavering support was a constant anchor, offering encouragement and practical help. Their partnership deepened through shared dreams and challenges, a testament to the power of connection across generations. The manuscript neared completion just as Martha received news that the independent publisher was ready to move forward. The process of editing and refining was both exhilarating and humbling, a collaboration that honed her voice and strengthened the story's impact. The publisher's belief in her work was a balm to years of self-doubt. On the day the final draft was submitted, Martha felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The journey from isolation to advocacy, from fear to fearless expression, was embodied in those pages. She knew that regardless of what came next, she had reclaimed her story and her place in the world. The book's release sparked a ripple effect. Reviews highlighted its authenticity and emotional depth, readers shared how it touched their lives, and Martha was invited to participate in panels, interviews, and workshops nationwide. Her story became a beacon, illuminating paths for others navigating the complexities of aging with grace and purpose. Yet Martha remained humble, recognizing that the journey of transformation is ongoing. She continued to innovate, collaborate, and inspire, fueled by the belief that age is not a boundary but a frontier. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of color, Martha stood on her porch, the manuscript in her hands, feeling the weight and wonder of all that had been and all that was yet to come. The spark ignited by a visionary's boldness had grown into a flame that warmed her soul and lit the way forward. She whispered into the twilight, "I am never too old. I am just beginning." Martha sat quietly in the corner of the bustling community center, watching as her workshop buzzed with energy. The room was alive with conversations, laughter, and the steady tapping of keyboards, a symphony of reinvention and connection that filled her heart with pride. Over the past year, what began as a small gathering of hesitant seniors had grown into a vibrant network of learners, creators, and friends. Each face told a story of transformation, of courage found in the face of doubt. Yet beneath the surface of this success, Martha grappled with a new challenge, the fear of complacency, of settling into comfort and losing the drive that had propelled her forward. Elon Musk's relentless push for innovation echoed in her mind, a reminder that growth demands constant courage to confront the unknown. She resolved to take her vision to the next level. Inspired by the cutting-edge AI supercomputer that had sparked her journey, Martha dreamed of integrating technology to deepen the workshop's impact. She envisioned personalized learning programs powered by AI to adapt to each participant's pace and interests, breaking down barriers and opening new worlds of possibility. The idea was ambitious, even daunting. But Martha knew that meaningful change required bold steps. She began reaching out to local tech experts, universities, and startups, seeking partners willing to collaborate on this visionary project. The response was encouraging. A nearby university's computer science department expressed interest in developing a pilot program, and a young AI specialist named Jordan offered to volunteer his expertise. Together, they embarked on the challenge of designing an accessible, user-friendly platform tailored to seniors' needs. The process was complex and filled with setbacks. Technical glitches, funding hurdles, and the challenge of making advanced technology feel welcoming rather than intimidating tested their resolve. But each obstacle was met with creative problem-solving and unwavering commitment. Martha's leadership and the community's enthusiasm fueled the team's persistence. Meanwhile, Martha continued to nurture the personal connections that had become the foundation of her work. She spent time with participants individually, listening to their stories, fears, and dreams. One woman, Evelyn, shared how the workshops had helped her regain confidence after years of isolation following her husband's death. Another participant, Harold, now tech-savvy and self-assured, had begun volunteering to assist newcomers, embodying the cycle of empowerment Martha hoped to cultivate. At home, Martha's relationship with Lisa flourished amid the shared passion for this new project. Late evenings were often spent brainstorming ideas, planning outreach strategies, and celebrating small victories. The generational gap that had once separated them seemed to dissolve in the face of a common purpose. Yet, Martha remained mindful of the balance she needed to maintain. Aging brought its own set of challenges, fatigue, aches, and moments when her body reminded her of its limits. She incorporated gentle yoga and meditation into her routine, practices that soothed both mind and body, helping her sustain the demanding pace of her evolving life. As the AI pilot program took shape, excitement rippled through the community. The prospect of harnessing technology to unlock new potentials ignited imaginations and renewed enthusiasm. Martha marveled at how far they had come, from tentative first steps to pioneering a future where age was no barrier to growth. One crisp morning, the team launched the pilot. Participants gathered in the computer lab, nerves mingling with anticipation. The AI platform greeted each user with a personalized interface, offering tailored lessons, encouragement, and interactive challenges. The room filled with gasps of delight and eager questions as the technology responded to their needs in real time. Watching the joy and empowerment on their faces, Martha felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This was more than innovation, it was a testament to the human spirit's capacity to adapt, learn, and thrive. News of the pilot program spread beyond the town, attracting attention from media and policymakers. Martha was invited to speak at conferences and participate in panels discussing aging, technology, and social change. Her story became a beacon, inspiring other communities to explore similar initiatives. Despite the acclaim, Martha remained grounded. She understood that true progress was measured not in headlines but in the everyday lives transformed by opportunity and connection. She continued to listen, learn, and lead with humility and heart. One evening, as winter deepened and the first snowflakes drifted outside, Martha sat by the fireplace, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. The path had been winding, marked by loss, doubt, and rediscovery. Yet through it all, the spark ignited by a visionary's boldness had never dimmed. She whispered to herself, age is not an obstacle but a foundation, a well of wisdom, courage, and possibility waiting to be tapped. The future beckoned, vast and uncharted, but Martha was ready. With the strength of her community, the promise of innovation, and the lessons of resilience etched deep within her, she stepped forward into the next chapter of her extraordinary life. Martha stood on the edge of the auditorium stage, her heart pounding as the lights dimmed and the spotlight focused on her. The annual National Aging and Innovation Conference was packed with hundreds of attendees, researchers, policymakers, technologists, and advocates, each eager to hear about the transformative work happening in small towns and big cities alike. Tonight, Martha was not just a participant. She was a keynote speaker, invited to share her journey and the groundbreaking AI program she had helped build. She took a deep breath and remembered Elon Musk's words echoing in her mind, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." This was important, not just for her, but for millions of older adults whose potential was often overlooked or dismissed. As Martha began to speak, her voice steady despite the nerves. She told her story, the loneliness she had felt after losing her husband, the doubts that once held her back, the moment she discovered Elon Musk's ideas about pushing limits and embracing failure as part of growth. She described the community workshops that had started with a handful of participants and blossomed into a thriving movement, fueled by curiosity, courage, and technology. She shared how the AI pilot program personalized learning for seniors, helping them regain confidence, connect with loved ones, and find new purpose. The audience listened intently, many nodding in recognition of the struggles and hopes Martha articulated so honestly. Questions flowed after her talk. How could communities replicate this model? What challenges had they faced? How did technology adapt to diverse needs? Martha answered with candor, emphasizing that the key was human connection, the heart behind the tech, and the willingness to keep trying despite setbacks. Later that evening, Martha mingled with attendees, exchanging ideas and forming new partnerships. A university research team expressed interest in studying the program's impact, while a foundation offered potential funding for expansion. Each conversation was a step toward scaling the vision of empowering seniors nationwide. Back home, Martha and Lisa celebrated the success with quiet joy. The journey from isolation to influence had been long and winding, marked by perseverance and the refusal to accept limits imposed by age or circumstance. Martha's health challenges remained, but she approached them with resilience, integrating mindfulness and gentle exercise into her routine to sustain her energy and focus. The book Martha had written, her raw and inspiring memoir, continued to touch readers across the country. Messages poured in from strangers sharing their own stories of renewal, gratitude, and hope. Martha responded personally whenever she could, weaving a tapestry of connection that transcended geography and generations. One day, as Martha reviewed correspondence from a group of caregivers, she realized the potential to support not only seniors but those who cared for them. She envisioned creating resources, workshops, and communities to uplift caregivers, recognizing their vital role in the ecosystem of aging. This new initiative resonated deeply with Martha's mission of holistic empowerment. As spring blossomed, Martha launched the Caregiver Support Network, integrating it with the AI platform to offer tailored tools and virtual support groups. The response was overwhelming. Caregivers found solace, resources, and strength in the community, breaking through the isolation and exhaustion they often faced. Amid these successes, Martha remained grounded in the simple joys that fueled her spirit, morning walks with Lisa, quiet evenings by the fireplace, and moments of creative expression that reminded her of life's beauty. She understood that the journey was ongoing, a dance between challenge and growth, loss and hope. Reflecting on all that had unfolded, Martha felt a profound gratitude. The spark that had ignited in the words and example of a fearless innovator had blossomed into a movement of transformation and possibility. Age was no longer a barrier but a gateway, a call to explore, to connect, to create. Standing beneath the star-filled sky one cool evening, Martha whispered a promise to herself and to all who would listen: we are never too old to change the world. Our stories, our dreams, our actions matter now more than ever. The future stretched out before her, vast and shimmering with potential. With courage, community, and innovation as her guides, Martha stepped boldly into what lay ahead, ready to keep dreaming, keep fighting, and keep inspiring. Martha sat quietly in her study, the soft glow of the desk lamp illuminating the pages of a letter she had just received. The handwriting was unfamiliar but elegant, and the envelope bore the seal of a prestigious foundation dedicated to supporting innovative projects for older adults. As she unfolded the letter, her eyes scanned the words that would soon open a new door, an invitation to partner on a national initiative aimed at expanding the reach of her AI-powered senior learning platform. The letter praised her vision, leadership, and the tangible impact she had already made in her community. It spoke of scaling the project to touch the lives of millions across the country, a chance to influence policy, technology, and social attitudes toward aging. Martha's heart swelled with a mixture of excitement and humility. Years ago, the idea of addressing such a vast audience would have seemed impossible, a distant dream overshadowed by doubts and fears. But now, armed with experience, resilience, and a powerful community, she embraced the opportunity with open arms. She thought back to the many times Elon Musk's fearless approach had inspired her to push beyond perceived limits. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. This was no time to shy away. The following weeks were a whirlwind of planning, meetings, and collaboration. Martha worked closely with a diverse team of technologists, healthcare professionals, policymakers, and senior advocates. Together, they refined the platform, incorporating feedback from users to ensure accessibility, relevance, and empathy at its core. The project secured significant funding, enabling the development of new features, virtual reality experiences to stimulate memory and creativity, AI companions to provide social interaction, and customized health monitoring tools integrated with local healthcare providers. Martha remained deeply connected to the users, regularly hosting virtual town halls and listening sessions to understand their evolving needs. The human element was paramount. Technology was a tool, not a replacement for genuine connection and care. As the national rollout commenced, stories poured in from across the country. Seniors who had felt isolated discovered new friendships and passions. Caregivers found support and relief. Communities witnessed the revitalization of their older members, who now contributed wisdom, creativity, and leadership with renewed confidence. Martha traveled extensively to speak at conferences, visit local centers, and meet the faces behind the data. Each encounter reaffirmed her belief that aging was not a period of decline but a chapter of transformation. The media spotlight intensified, with documentaries, interviews, and profiles highlighting the groundbreaking nature of the initiative. Martha's message resonated widely, that society must rethink aging, embracing it as a source of strength, innovation, and possibility. Yet, amidst the acclaim and activity, Martha maintained moments of quiet reflection. She continued to nurture her relationship with Lisa, finding joy in simple pleasures, a walk through the park, a shared meal, a favorite book discussed over tea. These moments grounded her, reminding her of the personal connections that fueled her passion. One evening, as spring blossomed in a riot of colors outside her window, Martha received a call that would change everything. A renowned university invited her to join their faculty as a distinguished lecturer in aging studies and technology innovation. The offer was both an honor and a challenge, a new platform to shape minds, influence future leaders, and deepen the impact of her work through education. After thoughtful consideration, Martha accepted. Stepping into this academic role brought a new rhythm to her life. She prepared lectures that combined research, personal experience, and visionary thinking. Her classes quickly became popular, attracting students from diverse backgrounds eager to explore the intersection of technology, aging, and society. Martha fostered an environment of inquiry and empathy, encouraging students to challenge assumptions and imagine new possibilities. She integrated real-world projects, connecting students with communities to co-create solutions. The classroom became a microcosm of the movement she had helped ignite, dynamic, hopeful, and transformative. As Martha balanced teaching, advocacy, and personal life, she faced inevitable challenges. Public scrutiny intensified, with some critics questioning the scalability and inclusiveness of technology-driven solutions. Funding fluctuations required careful management and innovation. Personal health issues surfaced, reminding her of the fragility of life and the importance of self-care. Through it all, Martha drew strength from her community and her core belief that meaningful change demands persistence and adaptability. She often returned to Elon Musk's mindset, not as a figure to idolize but as a symbol of daring to dream big and act boldly despite obstacles. In quieter moments, Martha reflected on the journey from isolation to influence, from doubt to determination. She thought of the countless seniors whose lives had been touched, the caregivers who found support, and the students she now mentored to carry the torch forward. Her story was no longer just her own, it was a living legacy, a testament to the power of courage, connection, and innovation. One crisp autumn afternoon, Martha stood before a packed auditorium at her university, delivering a commencement address to a new generation of changemakers. Her voice carried the weight of experience and the lightness of hope as she spoke about the limitless possibilities that arise when we embrace aging as a vital, creative force. She challenged graduates to carry forward the mission, to design technologies, policies, and communities that honor and empower every stage of life. As applause filled the room, Martha felt a profound sense of fulfillment and anticipation. The future was theirs to shape, and she would walk alongside them, ever curious, ever hopeful. Returning home, Martha found Lisa waiting with a warm smile and open arms. Together, they watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, a perfect metaphor for the endless cycles of endings and beginnings. Martha whispered softly, "We are never too old to learn, to teach, to lead. Our stories are the seeds of the future." In that moment, she knew the journey was far from over. It was simply evolving, growing, and unfolding, just like her, just like all of them, with boundless potential ahead. Martha sat at her kitchen table, the warm morning light filtering through lace curtains, casting intricate patterns on the worn wood. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard as she contemplated the invitation that had arrived just days before. A documentary filmmaker wanted to tell her story, to capture the evolution of her journey from isolation to innovation, and to spotlight the lives transformed by the AI platform she had helped build. The prospect thrilled and unnerved her in equal measure. She thought of Elon Musk's insistence on embracing risk and vulnerability as gateways to growth. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough, he had said. This was a chance to reach even more people, to challenge stereotypes about aging on a scale she had never imagined. After a thoughtful pause, she typed her acceptance, stepping into the next chapter of her story. The filming process was intimate and revealing. The crew spent days shadowing Martha's daily routines, capturing moments of triumph and tenderness, setbacks and resilience. They interviewed participants from the workshops, caregivers who found support, and students inspired by her university classes. Through the lens, Martha saw her community anew, each face a testament to hope and perseverance. One afternoon, while filming in the community center, an elderly participant named George shared how the AI platform had helped him reconnect with his late wife through virtual memories. His voice trembled as he spoke, tears glistening in his eyes. These stories imbued the documentary with profound emotional depth, painting a portrait of aging as rich with love, loss, and possibility. The documentary's release sparked a wave of national attention. Viewers across the country were moved by the honest portrayal of lives too often overlooked. The film aired on major networks and streaming platforms, catalyzing conversations about the role of technology in enhancing dignity and connection for seniors. Martha received letters and calls from strangers expressing gratitude and sharing their own struggles and triumphs. Amid this newfound visibility, Martha remained rooted in the work and relationships that had fueled her transformation. She expanded the AI platform's offerings, integrating mental health resources and creative workshops designed to foster self-expression and emotional healing. Partnerships with healthcare providers deepened, bringing personalized care and early intervention to participants. One evening, after a community event celebrating the documentary's success, Martha sat with Lisa on the porch, the night air cool and fragrant. They spoke about the journey, how far they had come and the endless possibilities ahead. Lisa's presence was a constant source of strength and joy, their bond a reminder that connection is the heart of resilience. As the years passed, Martha's role evolved from pioneer to mentor. She dedicated herself to nurturing emerging leaders who shared her vision, providing guidance, support, and encouragement. The movement she helped ignite continued to grow, adapting to new technologies and societal shifts. Martha also embraced her personal journey of aging with grace, acknowledging the inevitable changes while focusing on the richness of experience and the joy of continued growth. On a crisp autumn morning, Martha visited a bustling innovation hub where students and seniors collaborated on new projects. She watched as generations exchanged ideas, laughter, and wisdom, embodying the spirit of intergenerational solidarity. It was a living testament to the power of inclusion and the limitless potential of embracing age as an asset rather than a limitation. Standing amidst this vibrant energy, Martha felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The spark ignited by a visionary's boldness had grown into a blazing flame of transformation, lighting the way for countless others. She whispered softly to herself, "We are never too old to change, to connect, to create. Our stories are our superpower." As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose, Martha looked forward with hope, ready to continue her journey, ever curious, ever brave, and ever inspired. Martha felt a strange mixture of excitement and apprehension as she prepared for her first visit to the headquarters of Neural Frontier, the cutting-edge tech company that had partnered with her to enhance the AI platform. The sprawling campus, nestled on the outskirts of Silicon Valley, was a hive of innovation, glass towers shimmering in the morning sun, humming servers hidden behind sleek walls, and teams of engineers and designers buzzing with purpose. Despite the high-tech atmosphere, Martha was determined to keep the human element at the heart of every conversation. She was greeted warmly by Jordan, the young AI specialist who had volunteered early on and now led the collaborative project team. His enthusiasm was infectious, and his respect for Martha's lived experience evident. "This is where we turn dreams into reality," he said as they walked through corridors lined with interactive displays illustrating breakthroughs in machine learning and neural networks. Martha marveled at the fusion of technology and creativity. She remembered Elon Musk's words about pushing boundaries and not fearing failure. "Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up." That mantra had fueled her journey from quiet despair to national influence. Now, it would guide the next leap forward. Over the next weeks, Martha immersed herself in the world of algorithms, data models, and user experience design. She advocated fiercely for accessibility and empathy, ensuring that every update considered the needs and limitations of older users. The team developed new features that allowed the AI to recognize emotional cues, adapt to fluctuating cognitive abilities, and foster deeper social connections. One breakthrough came when they integrated a virtual reality module that enabled seniors to travel to places they had always dreamed of visiting, or revisit cherished memories with immersive detail. The joy and tears that these experiences brought to participants reaffirmed the profound impact technology could have when wielded with compassion. Meanwhile, Martha's own health presented new challenges. She found herself relying more on mindfulness techniques and community support to maintain her energy and focus. Yet, she refused to let physical setbacks deter her. In private moments, she would revisit the early days of doubt and isolation, reminding herself how far she had come. This resilience was her quiet rebellion against the limitations often imposed by age. As the AI platform expanded, so too did its community. Martha received invitations to international conferences, where she spoke passionately about redefining aging through innovation and human connection. She forged alliances with global organizations, sharing knowledge and resources to empower seniors worldwide. The movement transcended borders, united by a shared vision of dignity and possibility. Back home, Martha continued to nurture her relationships. Lisa remained her steadfast companion, their bond deepening with shared experiences and mutual respect. Together, they hosted intergenerational gatherings, where young innovators and seasoned elders exchanged stories and skills, breaking down barriers and building bridges. One evening, after a particularly moving event where a teenager taught a group of seniors how to create digital art, Martha felt a surge of hope. The future was not a threat but a canvas, waiting to be painted with courage, creativity, and compassion. Reflecting on this journey, Martha recognized the profound truth that had guided her all along: age was not a limitation but a source of wisdom, resilience, and innovation. Elon Musk's spirit of fearless exploration had been the spark, but it was the collective heart of community and the power of connection that fueled the flame. As she looked toward the horizon, Martha embraced the unknown with open arms, ready to continue shaping a world where everyone, regardless of age, could thrive and contribute meaningfully. The road ahead was long and winding, but filled with promise. And Martha was walking it with purpose, passion, and an unshakable belief that it was never too late to change the world. Martha sat quietly in the lecture hall, the murmurs of anticipation fading as she stepped up to the podium. It was the annual Summit on Aging Innovation, and the room was filled with leaders, researchers, activists, and seniors from across the country, all eager to explore new horizons for aging in the 21st century. As Martha looked out at the diverse faces before her, she felt a swell of pride and responsibility. Years ago, she had been on the other side of the room, uncertain if anyone truly saw her potential. Now, she was a beacon, carrying stories of transformation and hope. She began her speech with a question that had once haunted her: what if aging is not about loss, but about discovering new strengths we never knew we had? The room was silent, captivated. Martha shared the arc of her journey, from despair and isolation to empowerment and impact, highlighting how technology, community, and courage had converged to redefine what it means to grow older. She spoke of the AI platform that personalized learning, connected isolated seniors, and opened doors to creativity and joy. The audience resonated deeply, some nodding knowingly, others wiping away tears. Then, Martha introduced a surprise: a live demonstration of the newest feature developed in partnership with Neural Frontier, an AI companion that could engage users in meaningful conversation, adapt to their moods, and even help them reminisce by accessing personalized memory archives. A volunteer from the audience, Henry, stepped forward hesitantly. As he interacted with the AI, his expression transformed from skepticism to wonder. He described how it reminded him of his late wife's favorite stories and rekindled his passion for writing poetry. The demonstration was met with enthusiastic applause. Throughout the conference, Martha engaged in dialogues about ethics, accessibility, and the importance of preserving dignity in the face of technological advancement. She emphasized that innovation must be rooted in empathy and respect, ensuring that no one was left behind or reduced to data points. Outside the formal sessions, Martha connected with younger activists who brought fresh perspectives and energy. She found inspiration in their fearless questioning and willingness to imagine bold futures. Their enthusiasm rekindled her own dreams, reminding her that the movement was bigger than any one person; it was a collective force for change. Back home, Martha reflected on the summit's impact. The event had sparked new partnerships and invigorated ongoing projects. Yet, she remained mindful of the challenges ahead: the digital divide, health disparities, and societal attitudes that still marginalized older adults. These obstacles called for continued advocacy and innovation. One evening, as Martha and Lisa walked through their neighborhood, they passed a mural depicting a vibrant tree with branches reaching toward the sky, each leaf representing a story of resilience and renewal. Inspired, Martha decided to create a storytelling initiative inviting seniors to share their experiences, wisdom, and dreams through digital media and public exhibits. The project blossomed into a powerful platform amplifying voices often unheard, fostering intergenerational understanding and celebration. Martha's own story was featured prominently, not as a tale of exceptionalism but as a testament to ordinary people's extraordinary capacity for growth and change. As autumn turned to winter, Martha faced a new personal challenge: her health declined more noticeably, reminding her of the finite nature of time. Yet, she approached this reality with grace and acceptance, focusing on quality of life, meaningful connections, and the legacy she wished to leave. She documented her reflections and lessons learned, intending to share them with future generations. One quiet afternoon, Martha received a letter from a young woman named Emma, who had been inspired by Martha's journey to pursue a career in gerontechnology. Emma's words were filled with gratitude and determination, a reminder that Martha's influence extended far beyond immediate circles. This connection renewed Martha's hope and reinforced the importance of mentorship and storytelling. On a crisp winter morning, surrounded by friends, family, and community members, Martha celebrated her 70th birthday with a gathering that reflected the diversity and spirit of the movement she had helped build. The room buzzed with laughter, music, and stories, a living testament to the power of connection and the beauty of aging fully. Martha raised a toast: to all of us, never too old to dream, to learn, to love, and to change the world. The applause echoed her conviction and joy. As the night wound down, Martha and Lisa stepped outside to gaze at the stars, the vastness reminding them of infinite possibilities. Martha whispered, "We've come so far, and yet the journey is just beginning." Lisa squeezed her hand gently, a silent promise of companionship and courage. In that quiet moment, Martha embraced the profound truth that had carried her through every challenge and triumph. Age is not an ending but a gateway, a passage to new adventures, new purpose, and new hope. With a heart full of gratitude and eyes fixed on the horizon, Martha stepped forward, ready to continue illuminating the path for all who would follow. Martha awoke to the gentle chime of her phone, a notification that felt both routine and extraordinary. It was an invitation to speak at the Global Forum on Aging and Technology in Geneva, a gathering of world leaders, innovators, and advocates dedicated to shaping a future where aging was embraced as a vital force. As she sipped her morning coffee, she reflected on how far she had traveled, from the loneliness of her small-town kitchen to the international stage. This was a testament not only to her resilience but to the power of community, technology, and a mindset willing to defy limits. Arriving in Geneva, Martha was struck by the blend of tradition and innovation that characterized the city. The cobblestone streets echoed with history while conference centers buzzed with cutting-edge discussions on artificial intelligence, robotics, and healthcare. At the forum, Martha joined a panel alongside renowned scientists and policymakers. When it was her turn to speak, she shared her journey, emphasizing that technology must serve humanity, nurturing connection, dignity, and purpose at every stage of life. She highlighted the transformative impact of AI on seniors' lives, from personalized learning to emotional support, and challenged attendees to design solutions that were inclusive, ethical, and empowering. The audience responded with enthusiasm, sparking lively dialogues about the future of aging. Beyond the formal sessions, Martha connected with delegates from diverse cultures and backgrounds. She was inspired by stories of grassroots initiatives and traditional wisdom, reminding her that innovation thrives at the intersection of the new and the old. One evening, she attended a cultural event showcasing elders' art and storytelling, reinforcing her belief that every person's narrative is a vital thread in the global tapestry. As the forum progressed, Martha collaborated with international partners to launch a new project, a cross-cultural platform leveraging AI to document and preserve elders' stories worldwide, promoting empathy and intergenerational learning. This initiative embodied the very essence of her mission, to honor the past while embracing the future. Returning home, Martha found renewed energy and purpose. She shared her experiences with Lisa, who listened with pride and affection. Together, they organized a local event celebrating global elders, blending technology demonstrations with storytelling circles and music. The community gathered in warmth and joy, bridging gaps of age, culture, and experience. Martha's health remained a consideration, but she balanced care with action, determined to live fully and authentically. She continued to mentor young leaders like Emma, fostering a new generation of advocates and innovators. Each interaction deepened her conviction that change is a collective journey, fueled by courage, compassion, and creativity. In the quiet moments, Martha often reflected on Elon Musk's words that had inspired her throughout: "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." Her life was a living proof that significance transcends age and circumstance. As winter gave way to spring, Martha stood once more at the podium, this time welcoming new students to her university program. She encouraged them to dream boldly, to challenge norms, and to create technologies and communities that honor every stage of life. The circle of inspiration continued, ever expanding. One afternoon, Martha received a letter from a woman named Grace, who shared how the AI platform had rekindled her love of painting and connected her with a community of artists across the country. Grace's story echoed the countless lives touched by Martha's work. A mosaic of transformation, hope, and belonging. Sitting by the window, Martha gazed at the blooming garden, a symbol of renewal and possibility. She felt a profound gratitude for the journey, its trials and triumphs, and a serene excitement for the road ahead. With Lisa by her side in a world of stories yet to tell, Martha knew that aging was not an end but a beginning. Her legacy was not just in the technologies she helped build, but in the hearts she had touched and the futures she had helped shape. Her like a wave. This was the moment she had dreamed of, the culmination of a journey that had begun with doubt, fear, and a deep sense of invisibility. Now, surrounded by friends, family, innovators, and people whose lives had been touched by her work, she felt a profound sense of peace and purpose. The theme of the conference was Redefining Aging, the Power of Possibility, and Martha was the keynote speaker, invited to share her story, her vision, and her hope. She began softly. When I was younger, I believed growing old meant fading away, losing relevance, losing dreams, losing myself. But what I've learned, through every struggle and breakthrough, is that aging is not the end of the story. It's a new chapter filled with strength, creativity, and connection. The audience was silent, leaning in, hearts open. Martha spoke of her transformation, from isolation in a small town to leading a movement that harnessed AI to empower seniors, to bridging generations with technology and storytelling. She told of the partnership with Neural Frontier, the virtual reality memories that brought tears and joy, and the community that became a family. Elon Musk once said, "Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster." That message lit a fire inside me. It pushed me to say yes when I wanted to say no, to try when I feared failure, and to believe that my age was never a cage, but a key. After her speech, the room erupted in applause, standing ovations that echoed long after she stepped down. People came forward, sharing their own stories of renewal, gratitude, and aspiration. Martha felt the circle of inspiration widen, a ripple effect that extended far beyond the walls of the auditorium. In the following days, Martha met with young innovators eager to learn from her experience, with healthcare leaders inspired to integrate compassion into technology, and with community organizers ready to replicate the model of connection and empowerment she had helped create. Each encounter reinforced the truth that change is collaborative and unstoppable when fueled by empathy and courage. One evening, as Martha and Lisa walked hand in hand beneath a sky dusted with stars, they spoke of legacy, not in terms of monuments or accolades, but in lives changed, barriers broken, and love shared. Martha whispered, "I thought my story would end in silence, but it's become a symphony." Lisa smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "And it's only just beginning." In the quiet that followed, Martha reflected on the journey that had brought her here, the lonely nights, the moments of doubt, the sparks of inspiration from unlikely sources like Elon Musk's fearless mindset. She realized that the true transformation was not in the technology she helped build, but in the awakening of her own spirit, and in the collective awakening of a community that refused to be defined by age or limitation. As she prepared to step into whatever came next, Martha embraced a simple but profound truth: we are never too old to change the world. Sometimes, all it takes is one bold step, one spark of courage, and a heart willing to believe. The auditorium lights dimmed, the crowd's cheers fading into a hopeful hush. Martha closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of possibility surround her like a gentle embrace. The story was hers, yes, but it was also theirs, and yours, and everyone ready to rise, to dream, and to live boldly at any age. Would you like a full compilation of the story or help with anything else? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?